Yes, everybody. Russ, the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well. Happy Friday. Congratulations, everyone. We've done another week. Well done. Well done. And now we're on the road to London Stadium. Arsenal on Sunday. What could possibly go wrong, everybody? What could possibly go wrong? But as we do is on a Friday, we tend to do a live show. We tend to this is like an open forum. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's having your say. And if you want to come on and join me, you can come on stream and join me. No problem at all. If we just I'm going to put the link in there. My computer's all buggered up with the phone call at the moment. So if you want to come and join and have a chat, we can talk wherever you want. It's all great. Can we make it after 3? No, we can't. Sorry. More is that says Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan, eh? And actually, if you Bob, I'm sure you're aware of the Netflix show, the Greatest Night in Pop. Fantastic. If anyone wants to watch, about an hour and a half long, all about the 80s and all about the We Are the World, We Are the Future. Fantastic. Really good. Really, really good it was. And some amazing stars. Everyone who was famous in the 80s in terms of American music and even like pop culture. Like people like Dan Aykroyd was in it. It's brilliant. Anyway, what have we got? What we got? Afternoon, Michael. Hope you are well. Afternoon, Stefan from a grey and rainy Somerset. Yeah, it's grey and rainy on our Thorn Church here, to be honest. I feel there is so much negativity about from all the various forms. How do we get that happy vibe back? Will Moyes give us that? I'll be honest, Stefan. I think it's in a sad way. I think it's a sad way that I don't think we're ever going to get back to you. But have we ever had like full unity? Do you know what I mean? There's always going to be and I think maybe social media has exaggerated that. Where you might pre-social media been down the pub pissed off about West Ham or and someone else ain't, and that's your prerogative. I just think maybe it's exaggerated it all. I think also, I think, I've spoken to Nick about it. It's a Claret Booze. We have our little chats. And I think whatever happens, regardless of what happens next, the next step in this saga, I think you're gonna have the same divide, but it's gonna be slightly different in that, if for example, okay, the two scenarios, Moyes stays, Moyes goes. Okay, if Moyes stays, obviously the anti-Moyesers will be still banging on the drum, which is their prerogative, no problem at all. The pro-Moyesits will be saying, "Oh, he deserves it," and if we have a decent season next season as well, then that's okay. Then they'll still be like that. If Moyes is not given a new contract, a new manager comes in, then if he's a success, then the anti-Moyesits will be a smug buggers. Of course they will be. Told you so. They will be. Whereas if it isn't a success, the pro-Moyes is told you shouldn't. Grass is always on the other side. So I don't think there's ever going to be a situation where we're going to be 100%. So we all want. I think the one thing we all can agree is not in an ideal world is we want decent football and results. I think everyone wants that, and that's something which can unite everyone. But I think you're still going to get people like, told you so, whatever happens. And I just think you will, just because it's the nature of social media as well, unfortunately. Afternoon, Maltese. Great comment, though, Stephen. Thank you. Hope you are well. Anthony's here. Rob's here. Nice to see loads of people. We will have David Moyes prostate. The David Moyes press conference. That was a Freudian slip if I've heard one. David Moyes press conference will be in about an hour or so, and we're doing that for Hammer's Headlines, so you don't need to bother listening to Moyes. I can have all that. What we got here? Stuart, it's Russ, not Ross, but don't use it. Don't worry, I get used to that quite a lot. Moyes resigning on Sunday after humiliating defeats. Ralph, my yin to my yang. Hope you're well, mate. Good to see you, buddy. Matt's in the chat, cutie. Everyone's in there. What's that ref Anthony Taylor doing in here? Good afternoon. Obviously, the referee is Craig Pawson, isn't it? Craig Pawson, who was referee when we beat, was it United or beat Arsenal already this season? And obviously, it sounds like Craig Dawson's in there. Afternoon, Dave. I hope you're well. Scott's in. How much negativity affected the players? Must be hard hearing the fans for them. And I agree. I agree. Totally. Not just for players, but prospective players coming in. New first team coaches potentially as well. I mean, they'll be doing their due diligence, and they'll look at social media, and if they see a cesspit of of negativity between either side, firing shots over one another, not going to help. Surely, it's not going to help. But I think also in a microcosm, I think if you go to any other club, there'll be some sort of division, whether it's team selection, whether I just think maybe we're in our own bubble, pardon the pun, and I think sometimes it has got worse, I think, but sometimes I think there's always an element of that, because there's no one is 100% happy. Maybe even Matt, but I don't think some Man City fans will be, because there will be a percentage who, if they don't win, they feel like they have to win every game, or the team selection. Maybe they want to see Foden. Maybe they want to see more academy players given a chance at Man City in terms of regular first team football. Obviously, the last game there was only one, which was Phil Foden. You're thinking so much. We've got such a good academy set up as well. Don't know. Do you know Ryan? It's a hammer. Yes, I do. I certainly do. Good old Aster. Hope you're well. So it's afternoon. It doesn't matter. Time. It's morning for people like Scott from over the pond. Afternoon, Colin. What are your views on the blue cards? Do they have blue? Do you know what? Part of me thinks the thing that really annoys me with football at the moment is the petulance of players. I don't mind about fouls. I think actually we've got really soft, and it's become almost like a no contact sport. You look at some of our greatest players; they wouldn't have got any game time at West Ham under the Premier League rules at the moment. Julian Dix, Bonzi, they weren't dirty players; they were strong players. Moncur. How many games would he actually have played a season? And that's something which annoys me. But in terms of the blue cards, yeah, it's I was thinking about doing a show about it, but I thought, you know what, it's still in the I don't think things we haven't even sorted out VAR properly, and then to give something else out. I like the way they do it in rugby. I like how it works in rugby. But then that's still with rugby with a sing. Obviously, that's the yellow card in essence. So for me, you either it seems very convoluted, having almost like a third card. For me, it's either you get a yellow card, a cautionary card, and then maybe that is a sin bin, potentially, maybe not 10 minutes, and then the red card for two of them. It's just, I mean, rugby, that's how rugby works. And what they'll do is at the moment, what's new is they'll sin bin them and then still review that incident. And if they think it's worthy, they'll send them off after that 10-minute period. So it's because actually they've already committed that foul already, that serious foul. So actually, to be honest, it's regardless of whether they're on or off the pitch, because they'd have been off the pitch anyway if the ref had sent them off straight away. So I think and I hate the way players gesticulate to managers and the referee, and I hate the way they dive and things like that. So I think it could clean up the game. But again, I just don't trust the officials to do that properly. I'm not saying I like the idea of having some sort of, because too often than not you'll get a cynical foul, and I know it's part of the game, but actually if there is a consequence to that cynical foul, is actually you're going to get 10 minutes. Yeah, you might have saved a goal scoring opportunity, but you've got 10 minutes, and so they'll probably score one or two more. Then it's going to be interesting to see how it plays. I think by the sounds of it looks like it's going to be the FA Cup and the Women's FA Cup. Maybe in the next year or 2 years that they're going to be trialing it. And clearly we're going to be the the main guinea pigs for it. But I think I just think it's really interesting. I think it's a really there definitely needs to do something, because sometimes a yellow card is a bit of, and sometimes a yellow card could be a really bad yellow card, and I think I think we need more clarity in terms of how it's going to be used, and how that's going to be referenced. Is it going to be via VAR? Is it going to be a full official? That type of thing. But it's interesting. I think it's interesting, but we'll see. Why does it feel like we're in a relegation? I know. Could you imagine if we are in a? I know. Yes, last year we kind of were in a relegation dogfight until the last sort of few months, really, where we sort of pulled out of the bag a bit, but not this year. But I think that's carried on in terms of the debate. Doesn't matter who manages you, you can't please everyone. You could hire the and it could, totally agree. Blue cards, get the red card for me, just scrap VAR. I'm not pro anti, I'm 100% what's best for West Ham. Yeah, fair enough. It's great following West Ham as long as you don't watch the football. West Ham thought Pellegrini joined, he turned him into Man City, indeed. People will always find something to moan about. Totally right. Even I hope you are well, my friend, all the way from Australia. Paddington TV has shared sit there to say a bad word about Moyes, bemoaning social media associate that you run. Indeed, Adrian. I know the what's the word? Irony of it. The irony of it. I know, but I don't try and portray. We try and get people from both sides of the debate on here. We tend to obviously talk about. Obviously, we tend to talk about news and stuff like that. But I think we're doing a bit more opinion pieces because people are asking for our opinions. But I think social media can be great, but I think also it can definitely hinder things. That's for sure. What we got here? I hope you're well, indeed. Never felt so much discord. From the fan base as there is, but years ago we didn't have social media. Perhaps I agree. Yeah, I agree. Can't complain. Usual, actually, I can. There we go. Usual suspects, good. Yellow card for Alex. After all, blue cards will make all the teams play Moyes style. When the player gets sent off, the rest of the team will pack up their own third to the player returns. Possibly, but you'd imagine the other side would push forward for that 10 minutes. And that's what happens with rugby, really. You watch rugby, when a player gets the defending, the side that's had the player taken off or sent off, does tend to try and shut up shop, keeps it tighter, where the other side takes more risks, more flamboyant. So how long would the manager get before the match? Well, that's the thing. I mean, you look at someone like Pochettino. Pochettino, and what I think I requoted it. Someone did a timeline of Rory Jennings talking about Pochettino, and he's loved Pochettino. It's hilarious. And it started off really well, then the wheels fell off, and then they can't put them back on. They can't afford to put new wheels on. If they put new wheels on, they're going into FFP. So sometimes it doesn't work. Whereas Bournemouth, it has worked. Bournemouth, it didn't start particularly well for Rano, but it's now developing. Villa, that's worked, so sometimes it works. I mean, De Serbi, it worked. They're not having a great time at the moment. Brentford, it has worked. They're not having a great time at the moment. So it swings and roundabouts, really. But I agree. I think, it's having time, and time is not an asset you have in the Premier League. That's why you need almost have hit the ground running, so I think Nick suggested a while ago, get Moyes out, put a new manager in, give him the longest, we're not going down, have the longest pre-season. He can sort out who he really wants come summer, get it all sorted. That makes sense on paper. But we know it's never going to happen. But that makes sense on paper. It's going to be tough. And I think on top of that, a massive rebuild job as well. Again, you know what I mean? And this is sort of from, you got to think most contracts have been 4 or 5 years on. So this is sort of the Pellegrini sort of era we're sort of paying a little bit for, because they were offered long deals and they've kept there. And we've had a lot of, our squad has been quite bloated, I think, in terms of players who have been around for too long, in my eyes. And we've shown too much, not loyalty, but not much ruthlessness. As I said, if you look at the City model, everyone aspires to be a team like Man City, off the pitch, on the pitch, not off the pitch, because there's still 150 charges and they could be playing Division 2 maybe one day. but they will each summer have a sort of rebuild. He'll look at improving one or two positions. So, there was like last year, Carl Walker was going to go, but eventually he changed his mind. But Mahrez went, and they brought in another right winger, and this guy, and then Gabriel Jesus went. And they brought in Haaland, and just incremental increases, marginal gains, and they make a big difference eventually. That's what I'd love us to get to. Where we can improve on those positions, but come summer, we've got a massive rebuild job. Talking about bubbles, I use banter bubbles. It's a crypto thing. Indeed, thank you. Time wasting glory. Give me a blue card instead. The so-called top six won't be given blue cards as they continue to get away with too much. Don't turn football into rugby. How the RFU is governed is way better than FIFA. It is very well run, to be honest. But I think there could be. I definitely think there is something in that. David Cross, exactly. El Psycho, God bless him. Any update? Got no update we've heard so far. I don't want Moyes to go. We won the European under him, so it's fair enough, John. Papa Firth is here. Will there be given blue card? Good shout. Good shout. I don't know. Will Phillips start on Sunday? Hope Antonio's back so Bowen goes on the wing. Well, Antonio has been doing full contact training. So there could be a chance. I'm sure that'll be one of the questions of Dave Moyes' press conference, and I'm sure that's one of the questions that Moyes will not answer for that exact reason. Because if Antonio does play, the setup of the team is completely different to if Bowen plays up top on his own. And so that changes everything. So we shall see. Phillips, to be honest, I would start him. I just think I would really go back to the double pivot, particularly if Antonio's in. Maybe drops either Souček or JWP. I mean, Kudus isn't the best on the left-hand side, I don't think, yet. I prefer him on the right, but him and Bowen could interchange and Antonio up front. That, to me, is a good side. And don't forget, we beat Arsenal at the Emirates with Ogbonna at centre-back, didn't we? So everything can happen. Surely is for the disabled players unbelievable. The only rule I take from rugby is to stop the clock when the ball is out of play, to stop time wasting. Need better people to use VAR. We need to hear conversations with VAR teamos for the refs. I totally agree. Well, you take that. You take that rule as well, the TMO stuff, because that's what we need. Stop clock. I agree. I think they should be. I think also they should do a stop clock as well. So, like when they have penalties and stuff at the moment, there is a stop clock. So they have a short. So I think we waste too much time on free kicks, setting them all up and walls and that to me works. Not on the ball. When the ball goes out for a line out and stuff, the clock isn't stopped, but it finishes on 40, doesn't it? It will finish on 40. So it's a little bit different. Officials on VR is superior, and also the behaviour of the players to the referee as well. It's always been I've always thought it to be very a good reaction, a good some sort of respect for the referee. And I just think that makes a difference, And if you're a good captain, you can manipulate that referee. If in rugby, sir, should he be lying on there? Should he be doing that? Should he be doing that, sir? Rather than saying he's doing that, sir, he's doing that. He's should he? And then he's like, yeah, okay, 10 yards. And also, I think they should bring in the 10-yard rule again. There was a 10-yard rule, wasn't it? If there was any chatting back, they would do the 10-yard rule, and they've stopped doing that in football. Got my Stanley thing back. Flo didn't take it to school today. Thank God. They're brilliant, they are. Keep everything so cold. Focus on fixing the game VR. I agree. Forget the blue card. Bring in the naughty step. Yes. And so it isn't a minute for every age, every hour, every year you are. So unfortunately, West Ham being one of the oldest teams in the Premier League, we will be buggered. Hopefully, Ogbonna doesn't get done in, or Fabianski. Jesus, would be there. He'd miss almost a half, wouldn't he? They've been using blue cards. They have been indeed. Bring back the cane. Thought players wasn't supposed to surround the but players still surround them. I know, yeah, that's what I mean. Having a sin bin will just force the team of 10 players to shut shop. It would do, but as I said, the other team would take advantage of that, surely. I'm deliberating for a while regarding Moyes, but I think it's time. Percy says Damien. 2 really good league positions, fair enough, but what about the other seasons? Be fair, every other club would have sacked him when we were in the relegation. Moyes didn't see it. Yeah, fair enough. It's a fair point, David. I think, but the thing is, in that season, we did win a cup, didn't we? So, but But when you look at the financials, we made a loss last year because of our league position. So it shows how critical the league position is. So it should, for a minimum, we should be aiming for a top 10 minimum, and anything less than that would be a failure. And that's why I think a new contract, regardless of it, would include things like those types of KPIs, those key performance indicators for the next coach to have to live up to each year. And that's why you say, I mean, look at Mourinho. Mourinho got sacked from Roma. He's won the Europa League, was it Europa League he won last year? And was it the conference the previous year or something like that? And finished currently ninth. They sacked him. Did Moyes say how grateful he was to get his debut? He was. And then in the same interview, he said, actually, thinking about it, nowadays, you don't get you have to be like at least 2021 to get into until you really sort of considered to be a first team player. So it was quite interesting interview, as well as his ideas on pie mash as well. With all the cheating going on football, we don't need the blue card to improve what we use. I agree. The blue card will be yet another thing for them to mismanage. Where in some sense it's not too bad, and you're talking to yourselves. When is the shirt given? We've given away the shirt. We've given it away. It's no one's claimed it yet. We did it last week, last Friday. So I'll go through it again and find out what it is, and I'll put it on the community tab. We did that already. So yes, Darren, you obviously didn't win. Oh, and you might have won, but it was last Friday we did the draw. So there we go. And for a free and for a West Ham signed football as well. Bournemouth playing well. Same with Villa. But they did, but you're right, Matt. But they didn't lose to Chelsea. So and Chelsea playing shit, and then no one was really given much hope against Villa. So how many blue cards, yellow, rednecks, pink for the woke people? I think it's actually, I think it's got the same value as a yellow card. I think. So I don't really know what the differentiation is between it, because if you get two blues, you get sent off anyway. So for me, it's just using the yellow. It's like the yellow card, and I don't know. Moyes has said he's only looking at 21-year-olds in the academy. Yes, indeed. That's what he said. But again, I for me, it's for me, I think there is a and we've had this. I think Razor on Twitter on the comments was talking about Greenwood and Lana. I totally agree. And I totally agree. In the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, that there was that. In early 2000s, there was a process. I just think since and I might go back and look at when, because obviously PL2 came into, I think it was the mid 2010s. PL2 came in, and they got rid of the combinations just to see, because I think it's an endemic thing. I think the players aren't developing physically enough. And speaking of the under 21s, they're playing tonight against Chelsea under 21s at Rush Green, 7 p.m. Go and check them out. £5. It's a really good night of football, and check them out. And I'll be there anyways. Come and say hello. But skill wise, they're probably better than they were, on an average basis. But I think physically, I just don't think they're strong enough. I just don't think because they're playing with their peers up until they come into the first team. So that's always been an issue for me. Social media is used to gauge things. If all that being conspiracy, they got an F off, the idea was retracted. Fair enough. As if we're not already too much time wasting, seem being a recipe wasting while you wait to get back to full strength as per rugby league. None of them are ready yet. Indeed, so that's what we're going. That's why utilizing the setup, utilizing loan markets, and we've sent a lot of players out on loan. Probably to the detriment of the 21s, to be honest, because although we've got quite a few coming in, so from the 18s and stuff, so it should be fun today. What's the 500 million squad every fan are moaning about? No depth. What's with the 500 squad every I'm moaning about? I think a lot of the 5 million have I think there's been a lot of failures in terms of players we've signed. I think there's been some good ones. Don't forget, we spent quite a bit in the summer under Steinton, really, the likes of Kudus, Alvarez. Granted, we had that in the bank, but in terms of but we still spent, 100, was it, say 30, 140, about 150 million, 130, no, about 130 million, something like that in the summer. Let's take that 370. Yeah, I think it's about 470, I think. But again, prices change with inflation, don't they? Really. So, but I agree. We have spent a lot of money. I think, as I said, I when we looked at it before, I think we spent the 8th most in over that period. Or something. I can't remember what it was, and we were 7th or 6th or 7th, so we were sort of on par. But I agree. I think we've tried to improve the 11, and we've brought in players who we think is going to improve the 11, like Skarmaka, for example, and they haven't worked. And so we've got to think. In terms, we've almost had to buy a new side, really. I think centre halves. We bought 3 new centre halves under Moyes, and we bought a whole new midfield under Moyes. We've bought a whole new attacking, apart from Antonio, who was only the legacy player there. We bought a whole new. You got to think, there's no one really in the first team, which apart from Antonio, really, who Moyes didn't bring in. Fabianski, but then he bought in Areola, so he's bought a brand new 11, really. Apart from, he has a brand new 11. I'm colourblind, although that's not going to help, is it? New manager will get plenty of time for progressive, not stubborn, and plays on track. I think, John, I'd preface that and getting results. I think he has to get results. He does, because it is a results-based business, unfortunately. And he might be playing some brilliant. I mean, you look at Bielsa. Bielsa did a great first season at Leeds. Second season, playing some really lovely football, but he got to a point where actually they're going to go down. So they had to bring in Jesse Marsh. So you've got to really balance it out. They need to be, the new manager needs. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's going to be the easiest job in the world, because the new manager has to come in, got to play good football. I mean, there was a point early on in the season, the Bournemouth board were looking at getting rid of Verona because they were near the bottom, and they knew the effect that relegation could have on them. So it's a real tricky balancing act. The new first team coach that comes in. So I'm getting better. Give it a like. Indeed, it's about time. Referees starting to handle out birthday cards as well. Indeed, why not? I didn't see Bowen in the video. Hope he's not injured. There was Bowen. There was 3 of them, weren't it? Bowen. I can't remember the other 2 were. I think it might have been Suchet, JWP, and someone else wasn't in it. But I mean, you don't know what they were doing. What do you make of Moyes' comments on the Q&A that youth teams are not ready for first team until they are? Personally, Ricky, I think in a majority sense, physically, he's probably right. But you do get occasionally 1 or 2 players who come through. So I think he said something like, and I don't know how it's true. I think he said he's given 5 in his career. He's given 5 academy players a Premier League, their debut in the Premier League. And one of them was obviously West Ham, which was anyone? Jeremy Ngakia. And it would have probably been Rooney or whatever. So for me, he's always he hasn't changed in terms of his style. He's always been where he brings academy players through. It tends to be in the cup competitions. And as I said, so if you're looking at it statistically, he's given more first team debuts to academy players than any West Ham manager in Premier League history. But only one of them has been the Premier League. And for me, it's not about giving them the debut, it's about the integration. I think realistically, until you've hit maybe 50 Premier League appearances for that club, you are not a first team integrated player, in my opinion. So it's like Ben Johnson is now. Ben Johnson is an integrated member of the academy in the first team. Declan Rice was, that type of thing, whereas Mbama isn't, because he's only got a handful of appearances. So I think, I said, we have had like Tony Carr on, we've had Pat Holland, Tim Breaker, all very much, involved in youth team football. And they said a similar thing. You could spend a lot of money developing a player from the age of 11 or 12 who might make it into the starting lineup of the first team, who might become a regular first team player, or you can go to France and buy one for roughly the same amount of money, who's already got 100 Premier League, 100 League caps or 50 league appearances under his belt already. And that's the trouble. We haven't got time for the managers. I don't think we've got time for the academy players as well. And that's a detriment of football, not just with Moyes, in my humble opinion. Matt, if a manager plays football, fans will We'll give them time. We'll steer clear of the academy. Parents will steer clear as they don't even try them. I noticed that youngsters looked handy. They are very handy. Got some great players, Ralph. It'll be on YouTube, I think, tonight. The under-21s. I'll be doing a little post-match analysis, which we'll put up tomorrow morning. But it'll be a good game tonight. Chelsea, a decent side as well in the under-21s. And I mean, you look at Chelsea. You know, Chelsea have only managed. They spent £1 billion on players. Are they any better out? No, not at all. They spent twice as much on us as players, and we're high up in the league. But also, the players they have had in the academy are because they couldn't buy anyone, and Frank had to play all the academy players. So if they hadn't had that, would the likes of Conor Gallagher have got into the first team squad so regularly? Probably not. You don't know. Brozier, probably not. Reece James, yes. So it's almost like the cream have to rise to the top. And again, they haven't got anyone. I mean, look at something like Billy Gilmore had to leave to get some football at Brighton. He's playing very well at Brighton. So there's, certain clubs sometimes it comes in fits and starts, I think, in terms of is the production line. A few weeks ago, everyone said Antonio was finished. We are looking forward to it. It's like a new signing. Indeed. Good afternoon. They are bringing in next season as VAR. Where they explain the decision when they have gone to the screen. We'll wait and see what happens with that. I mean, we get on like the games at London Stadium, I get the live feed from VAR. I don't get the audio, but I can see what they're looking at. And even me, I'm sitting there like, huh? What? I think it was the Agard goal, like a couple of weeks, like Christmas, and I just didn't understand what they were looking at. It was almost like it frozen, but they were trying to look for the tiniest slither of boots. It was ridiculous. Yeah, I totally agree, Quacks. At least then you know what's being looked at, or what the sort of the connotation is of what they're trying to say, So it's like, is it offside? No, yes. I'm going to go and check. Let me check to see if Soufal's shirt is he's okay. Give the goal. That's perfect. That would be perfect. What else we got? I'm trying to get through all this. Jesus, so many comments. I think JWP missed training as well as he did. There's one more as well. The comment was, how many people can we have in the sin bin before the game is called off? Don't know. Well, you imagine it'd be 4, because you can't play more than if you have 4 players sent off. You can't. That's the most. Is it the most you can have sent off? Is 4 or 3, something like that? Tom O'Reilly Brav. Bring back the Dunce's cap. That'd be a great idea. I think the blue card would freak a lot of teams out. I'm looking forward to it. 10 minutes rule might be down to 5 if a wrong decision is issued. It would definitely stop people from doing stuff. But I think maybe I think we need to find out more about it and see it in action. But as Pete Chancellor said, I think it's the Welsh League have been using it, being the test bed, I believe. So, yeah. What happens if the keeper gets a blue card? Good point. Don't know. What happened to only one person? It totally. Moyes flouts that as well, because we have bloody Kevin Nolan's in there all the time. Rush keeper. Yeah, bring back Rush keeper. No, they took him. They offered him. Was it? I can't remember one of the SPL sides, and he turned him down. Would you have him? No, I wouldn't. Because if people are moaning already about Moyes ball, I said heavy, pop. I mean, Chelsea, it turned sour. Man United, it turned sour. Tottenham, it turned sour. Romans, it's turned. Every side he's been to, yes, he's had some success, but it's turned sour. West Ham have had some success, and it's turning sour. So, yeah, and you'll get the same pro and anti Mourinho. Moyes should have left on high after winning. He would want in demand though, and want him now. I disagree, George. I think I think if you're looking at on paper, I think West Ham's probably the biggest job he will have for the rest of his career from now onwards. He won't go any higher than West Ham, but I think there'll be a number of Premier League clubs who will be looking at what he's done. Someone like Crystal Palace. Forest stayed up, maybe Forest. That time I could see that sort of lower mid to bottom sides. He's a firefighter, isn't he? Really, if a side's not doing well, he's the type of manager you'd bring him. sort of a proverbial Sam Allardyce type role. So I think he would have some jobs lining up. But I think I agree. He would have probably have more if he'd left. Potentially. I mean, we're sitting 7th in the league. So anyone looks at the table and go, oh, West Ham are doing all right. So David Moyes is in charge there. So from an outsider's perspective, of course, not my idea. And one that would be implemented if the players blue card and the team keeper goes to the Symbian. Oh, I like that. You just have a chance to hold players accountable. The cards are fine as they are. But I think we do need to make the players more accountable. I saw the training vid getting ready. Cornet Screamer still won't play. 50-50 with David Moyes leaving or staying. He was the first manager for us to win a cup in. Yeah, you're totally right. He will play Paul Warren as well. What? Okay. Good day, Blue. That's old. That is such a niche reference for me and Tom in our childhood. G'day, Blue. Oh dear, it was his birthday, though, wasn't it? Dad, did you said happy birthday, Dad? I know you do. For anyone who's interested, it was my dad's birthday this week. Happy birthday, Chrissy B. He's not watching because he doesn't have a phone which is decent, or that doesn't watch YouTube, doesn't got a clue what we do. But yeah, and I can't do my top up. There you go. It was his birthday. If anyone interested, 70 odd. Can't remember how old he is. As my boy was at Orient Academy, so in the loop, parents look at clubs who push through talent. Yeah, they probably do. And there was talk of Noble doing a big sort of speech to the parents of academy players a few months ago. There was some stuff that was leaked about him doing that, assuring them of pathways, and that's what I'm saying. I think whatever happens in terms of whoever's in the dugout, the contract that they're going to be signing would probably include some sort of caveat, some sort of term to ensure some academy progress into the first team. Because as I said, but this whole pathway thing, we will not know until he's been successful until 3, 4, 5 years down the line. Omits the hand in the process. Indeed, hates Moyes ball and low block terms. All defensive midfield except are capable of giving and passing the ball. I agree. Blue cards for dissent and tactical fouls. Nah. God, I'm like 13 minutes behind. No, or am I 7, 6, 13? Yeah. No, give the yellow card to the red form. We got me. We can't rules VAR even more heading Vales. Totally agree. Played 2 skinny kids and they proved it. They certainly have, mate. Certainly have. Liverpool, one of the only ones. Liverpool, Newcastle had. So I think we had but in terms of the starting lineup, Liverpool had 2. They had Jones and Trent Alexander-Arnold when they played Arsenal. Arsenal had 1 in Saka, and like Man City had Foden, and we had Ben Johnson. It's a weird one as well. I would say a tactical foul was a yellow card. Have we forgot about Paul Allen? He was indeed in 1980, before I was born, Patrick. And I think that's the trouble. I think a lot of us still think of football in terms of the Greenwood and Lar years, and it was. But money rules the game now. Doesn't matter what you say now. Unfortunately, money does rule the game, and managers don't get time. Players don't have time to embed into the side. I mean, we're saying, someone like Phillips says, oh, he's great, but he's a couple of games to get running. It's like, well, yeah, he probably does. But people are, we need to hit the ground running straight away. Well, he's not. We haven't got him like that. So I think that's the trouble. That is the trouble for me. Is I think some people still live in that era, but we're not in that era now. If you lose 5, 6 games in a row, you are out, regardless of whether you're David Moyes, regardless of you're Arteta, or you will be out 98% of the time. As he does, Simbin come straight on or wait for the rest to call that. I don't know. No idea. You have to balance it against outgoings. Reality is we've not spent. Yeah, exactly. You're right. We've laid out 500 million. We've got back a few hundred million. But you are totally right. But it's that laying out. I think people see that, and you're right. I mean, we've spent within our means. As I said, we haven't entered any FFP issues. We were last year, even though we took a hit financially, we had enough in the bank in terms of the surplus to ensure we didn't have any sanctions brought against us. This year, we'll be hopefully because the Declan Rice money will come in as direct profit. So, and also the Europa League more money. We'll be in a higher league position, I would assume, at the end of the season than we were last year. Plus, we have the conference win money as well. We will post, I would imagine, a profit this year. Question. I think wage caps need to come in. I agree. I totally agree. Or I'd love it to have some sort of draft system, like, I don't think it wouldn't work, but like how the NFL, the shittest teams get the first draft and they can trade those draft picks just to get a level, but it'll never happen. But I'd like that as an idea. How many transfer windows has Moyes had, and we still need to rebuild? Yep, you're totally right. And I think, John, it's because we haven't been ruthless enough. And I think we've kept players on for too far long. I think Bonner's probably been here at least 18 months before too long, same as Cresswell. The thing is, if sides aren't coming in for them, they're still hanging about. And no one put a bit, Cresswell was going, but then it didn't work out because the managers changed and Wolves couldn't buy him. So they didn't have the money. And there's certain things where I think we're in situations where we haven't helped ourselves by offering people contract extensions and things like that, and we're paying for that. I think squad development wise, we're still paying for the sort of the issues we had in the Pellegrini era as well. Unfortunately, not necessarily from a player perspective, but from a board perspective as well. We got our feet burnt well and truly under Pellegrini in terms of spending all that money, and I think that has led him to some reservations in terms of spending. In my opinion, we are in a revolving rebuild. You're always going to have to keep doing it though. Moyes has to go, but a new manager will struggle to play football with nearly all defenders, midfielders capable of passing or keeping the ball. Anton's in the chat. Good to see him. Feel sorry for everyone colour-blind. What car has he got? It's a choice of 3 now, isn't it? How many players brought in were Moyes' choices? I find it hard because he's stupid enough to buy players he doesn't want to use, leading him to use square pegs in round holes. Good point. Did Moyes sign off Danny Ings? Don't think he did. And as I said, look at that starting lineup last week. Areola, he bought in or under his tenure. Emerson, he bought in under his tenure. Agad, his tenure. Zuma, his tenure. Soufal, under him. The midfield, all under him. Up front, all under him. The only one who wasn't was Ben Johnson, who came from the academy. That was it. He's brought through every one of those 11. So it just shows, I think, for me, is the players we bought prior to David Moyes weren't good enough or weren't that strong enough to bring through. And so we've had to buy almost a new side in. But what we're saying now is the likes of Alvarez, you would hope would be around for a few years, Kudus, maybe for a few years, hopefully, Bowen for a few years, hopefully. So the new manager will not have to go out and hopefully buy a right winger or a forward or a couple of forwards. And, so it should be an easier process for him, I would say. We are 2 players away from full squad. I agree. And it feels like we're down to the bare bones. Says it all. Poor recruitment, indeed. Yes, we'll need results to keep his job, Russ, but giving him a chance before the work. But the trouble is, John, because of this rift, I don't think I think there'll be the pro Moyesitors will be saying, we haven't got the results, though. At least David Moyes was keeping us in 6th. And so, but same way, if he does, and we're top of the table for a new manager, then you'll get all the anti-Moyes. See, we told you we should have got rid of Moyes ages ago. So no one's going to win. Nobody's going to win, I don't think, for a long time, in my opinion. Look at the rating. We only got 10 from the last games last season. We need to double that in Europe. Fair to do so, it's not good enough for Moyes. Yeah, fair enough. Don't like a divided by Moyes out. It's fair enough. Glenn, hope you're well. Oh, geez. And Gaki have done nothing since Peru. We were like, indeed. I mean, look, you look who we got rid of, and Perkins, we didn't get rid of him, but he didn't sign the deal. Hasn't done nothing. Oxford sent him back to Leeds, didn't they? Ashby's at Swansea. I haven't seen how many game time he's had. We ain't done, and don't forget, Dean Garner, we got £19 million for him. How many years was that ago? Do you know what I mean? And the world was like falling out his arse that, Noble took to Twitter, goes, oh, we don't think that. I mean, he was proven right with that. And Gakio was proven right with that as well. We've kept Johnson, and Johnson's, I mean, there were several times where the centre, the right backs were leaving, like Ashby, like Ngakia. And, but you never know, someone like, Anton's favourite, Elise, he might come good. Pierre Aguirre, we might have regretted it potentially, but Palace didn't go for him. I think they'll go for him if Michael Eloise goes to Man City, for example. But we'll see. GP, thank you very much. £2. Please get Charlie from Hammer's Chat. I love Charlie. Do more of our academy players need to go abroad for their? I don't know. Why are they not going to Austria? Why don't they go to Austria Hochlandflieger, our side, with Andy Irvine? Why aren't they going there? I don't get it. We've got this partnership with this Austrian Super League side. We're not using it. I totally agree. There's a reason why the likes of Jude Bellingham, Sancho, people like that originally went to Germany because they weren't going to get the game time in the UK. So they went to Germany and came back better players. Would that happen? Would Sancho being the player or let's say Bellingham be the player he was if he stayed at Birmingham beforehand and maybe got bought by Liverpool? Maybe, but he was guaranteed time at Dortmund. Funny, Lingard said he wasn't happy leaving to go with his daughter, and he's gone to the other side of the world. Not me. I don't know how we can tell how much he's divided. Gives no real stats. You have bots, people with multiple accounts. Yeah, we get a rough idea. Though. We know. We know from comments. I reckon on this channel it's about 60-40 maybe. But yeah, there's no point to it. I just think it's another poll. In my opinion, they sell at least who don't fit. Just let them go through and release them. You're right, Trini. How many Man City players went to Southampton? Every year they seem to buy 2 or 3 of them at Southampton, and Southampton are meant to have a very good academy, and they're still buying players in from City. You look at Tosin from Fulham. He was at Man City on Man City's books. I agree. But we do let him go. So at least say we spent money. We let him. They bought him. Connor Coventry went for money, but they're not going to have for loads of money, are they? It certainly is, and I'll be there. Why is Trini's hammer claret and mine green? Depends how long you've been subscribing, because GP, you've got about 20 different accounts, so you probably have been subscribed for a longer time, but you keep forgetting. Scored when I watched him recently. They're moving him on, unsettled him. Will be interesting in the next couple of years. I agree with that comment regarding the age. It's about the only thing that makes sense in the interview. The rest was very weak. He seems dated and doesn't like liquor. Anyway. Went on to it, so I guess he only stripes. Yeah, fair enough. Why can't they change under 21s back to complaint? I totally agree. For me, it doesn't just affect West Ham. I think it affects football as a whole. It's same color. You're colorblind. On the one I used talking about the blue card and used Benny used red as a clip. Love to hear what the ref said to himself when got sorted in the box. Indeed. Got to go to work. Take care, man. Yeah, we're going to be done in a minute. Mourinho always ends up getting sacked for falling out of players. His next job will be Palace. I bet Russy says to us, where's all the vinyl in the DJ booth? That he probably remember. I'm doing that. You're drinking out of a milk churn now. Indeed. These things, the Stanley Cup, these are amazing. These are amazing. That's ice has been there since this morning. Brilliant. Keeps things so cold, and I hate hot drinks. It doesn't work like that anymore. Okay, Moyes doesn't. Moyes comes under the Allardyce. He'll destroy Crystal Palace. There we go. I ain't bothered about that. No way was you born after 1981. Me, thank you very much. Piss off. 8 was the right model. Salary caps and limits and big budgets per team. It's too late now, though, isn't it? Russ isn't that old. When I said you couldn't interview Pat Sharp, he said Hugh. Fun house, whole lot of fun prizes to be won. The activity in regards to the youth team was positive on the active, but let's be honest, that had nothing to do with Moyes. Do you think most of us are too old now? We're old school. Times they are changing. Don't think so. It's actually a lot of good. I think it's really interesting. I said, go and read 6'2". Read Nigel's analysis of all of our permanent managers at West Ham, because I think we have and Moyes comes out on top, statistically speaking, and so it's really interesting going through that and listening, because he talks about it and he breaks it down, and obviously there's no sort of factor for entertainment on there. But it's really interesting. 49ers or Chiefs? Chiefs. You're right. I am from that era, and this isn't the same West Ham. I don't think it's the same football, mate, to be honest, David. I think football has changed so much. The fact, we don't have 3 p.m. It's very rare of a 3 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday. It's, there's loads of stuff. I think football has changed, and we always, as a fan base, revert back to the the Lyle era, the Greenwood era. Obviously, I wasn't around with that, so for me, it's Billy Bonds and Redknapp, and think, oh, that was great football. I really enjoyed that football, and we did. But then we didn't have social media. Players could be players. Players could get away with being a bit naughty, when they weren't. And they weren't at Western when they weren't playing and training. So the players were relatable. So we had that's why, I think tonight you've got at the Dagenham Redbridge, you've got Maudeville Promotions are doing Ian Bishop night. I might pop down and see Bish after the West Ham game, because I love Bish. He's such a lovely bloke. He's so sweet. And he always has, he'll give me a cuddle and say hello and we'll have a chat. And as I said, in 20 years time, say, I think we'd still be going to watch people like Tony Gale and McAvenny and Crossy and John Moncur talk about their time. We will not go there in 20 years time and sit down and listen to Angelo Bonner talking about, I don't know, or Angelo Bonner Never Forget, hosted by Kurt Zuma. We don't have that same relationship with players, and we did. And I think that's one of the issues. We remember interviewing Tony Gale years ago, and he was saying, every year of his time at West Ham, bar one, was a testimonial year. So players stayed around for 10 years. You could build on the side. Now you don't get, if you get a player for maybe 4 or 5 years, you've done very well to keep him. Same as a manager, really. It's unheard of, really, be going, nowadays, going beyond like 4 or 5 years of a manager. And that's, so all of those added up. I think that, that's why people talk about the old days. It was so much because they knew the players, talking to some people, I don't know any of the new players, but they can tell you all about Crossy scoring this goal, or Jeff Pike, or people like that. And there's a reason why those guys are still involved in the club in terms of ambassadorial roles, because they have that just rapport with the fans. Yeah, indeed, someone drafted and Instagram. They can't remember who. Well, fair enough. Good idea. Have retro shirt names, games. Would love that here. What shirt would you choose, Russ, for a game? Probably either the DiCanio shirt, or for me, this was the first shirt we watched. It was a Dr. Martens version of the Book to One. That one. And also for NFL, they wear the for the Veterans Day and stuff. They wear all the camouflage stuff, which looks really cool. Right, let's go for some comments. I think Stardom will leave. I think it depends what happens with Moyes, to be honest. He's a guest and a Hammer supporter. Stephen Moyer from True Blood. Really? Is he? Fair play. We'll get him on. Stephen Moyer. Okay, True Blood. Really? Is he a West Ham fan? Fair play. I'll track him down. Watching Felipe there a few times. He still has a flair and actually does track back. Really? Wow. Payet's still playing, isn't he? In Serie A seems to be getting better, maybe not suited to that. And I think you're probably right, mate. You're probably right, Keys. The talent is right on our doorstep. We took it from granted. Scouts are based here. Yeah, you tell you, and that's why we've got, we're going to be getting what's name from Colchester as head of academy recruitment. So looking for those next stars. Was injured, but looks okay. When I've watched him, I think he's good. I think he was. I mean, he was when I was gutted that we left. But yeah, don't know if my memory. But did we not link up with German team a few years ago? It wasn't. It was Austrian with Andy Irvine. Anyway, let's go through. What's the point of having a pearl diver? Keeps the scuba gear under lock and key. Love that. Not sure I've had a red hammer for subscribers. Not sure I like the red hammer. Well, I suppose you'll be all right for next month. What flair does Palace have? Ric Flair. Woo! Was brought up kids TV roundabout. Older Gordon the Gopher. I think we should get rid of the January transfer window. I think we're moving more towards a situation where the January transfer window will be just a loan transfer, or it'd be, or I think in general when we're doing transfers, I don't think we're going to get to a point with FFP and PSR stuff where you're going to get a situation where it's going to be more trades. So it'd be 2-for-1 trades and 2 and a bit of money for a player, and loan deals and loan with obligation to buy and things like that. Would be so much more common. I think we spent 800 million last January and we spent 98 million this year. Just tells you what it says. I see the FA were the only ones to knock back the UEFA president, indeed, and the UEFA president doesn't want to do sin bins either. They were bringing so many new rules, you won't be able to compare the old days. I totally agree. They'll bring in rugby rules on top of watching Moyes porn officially done. Already killed the game. This will kill it off. Back at champions. Talking about our kit, we need to go back to white shorts, which is a possibility for next season. Is Bishop here with Dave Edson Phillips? Again, a very niche reference for only 2 people on this chat. And we've spoken about it. Actually, you can go back and listen to my interview with Bish like ages ago. So, like Tom, this was like Dave Benson Phillips. Remember him from like Get Your Own Back, Kids Get Your Own Back. He did a show which was like one of those prank shows, and Tom was picked to be pranked on. So he was at our school, which was Davenant, which is the same school Ben Johnson went to, by the way. And Tom was, and they set up like hidden cameras, and it was during an art lesson, and Dave Benson Phillips comes in. Where's Tom? Tom, oh, me. Hi, Tom. I heard you're being a West Ham fan. Do you know this guy here? He brought in Ian Bishop, and then we went to the sort of the playground. We played football for like 2 hours with Bish. It's amazing. Still remembers it. Bish still remembers it very well. I've got so many comments. I'm trying to zoom through them all. 500 million, 4 years to have the smallest squad and the second oldest. What a joke, says JB. But I think also that one of the reasons I think maybe thinking about it, we've got an old squad as well, is we had to bring, as I said, we've gone through the whole side now. And the players we bought in needed to be ready. And so we actually bought them until sort of starting, I think, so it was a bit different. But we bought players when they were relatively at their peak. So when they were like 27, 28, you got to think we bought the likes of Zuma again at the age of 27. Sufel we bought at 28, I think it was. Emerson we bought at 30, 29. Suchek 28. So he bought in these players so they could hit the ground running, because the squad he was left with wasn't good enough. Potentially, I don't know. Just thinking about it. Serie A is like orange and apples. Will January swap window in 2 years' time? Yeah, I think so. I think the Super League will happen within 5 years. I think, Peter, it will. I think it will eventually. Just with so many rules coming in. Doug, hope you're well, mate. Hope the baby's well as well. Is Osmond's cat and dry? Talking about Zuma again. I think we could regret that one. He'll thrive. I think he'll thrive in the Premier League. So yeah, it's one of those. I mean, Brian did it last year with João Pedro. They announced they'd bought him for the summer. So it's all gone. As obviously the official, it can't be all like ratified, but all the contract is done for Osman. I mean, the fact that Osman was interested, us, Brentford, turn the sugar up, Brentford and Brighton, the 3 teams who, 2 teams we were looking to aspire to be in terms of recruitment, Brentford and Brighton, shows you there's something about the kid. Obviously, no transfers guaranteed, as we well know, with the likes of Skamaka, Haller, and Felipe Anderson, things just haven't worked. Danny Ings, but it hasn't worked. I just think there's, for me, again, it's, and we always said, he's always believed that he was not going to come in and like hit the ground running in the first team. It was going to be, he's one for the future. And it did surprise me. Particularly also, we were led to believe that everyone on the transfer committee were interested, were okay with the signing and wanted him in. And then apparently, one of the owners is close friends told him to basically get Jota instead, we couldn't get him because he had a tax issue. Went to my first game, age 6. I think I remember I think getting rid of was a big mistake, says Moya. Oh, okay. Let's get him in. Let's get it. I'll get him in. Leave it with me. We'll get Stephen Moyer in. Stephen Moyer is going to come to West Ham. Could there be anything in FIFA trying to attract more, hence the changes that's happening in F1 and ruining the sport in the process? A lot of the ideas that the MLS are trying to implement are things like sim bins. Are things also, there's one more I think is really good. If you are injured, if you have a foul and you're given treatment, you have to have time, you have to have recuperation time off the side. So it was like 5 minutes or whatever to stop people faking injuries and stuff, which I think is a fantastic idea, because that annoys me. Literally, part of your job is to grab streakers at grab sneakers as well. Unfortunately, it would be somewhat of a troublesome job because I'm literally the furthest point away from the pitch. So I'd have to go from my box all the way downstairs, down the lift, through the tunnel, out we go. By then, the streak would have done the streaking, put his clothes back on, and gone to have a box of popcorn. Evening, Mikey. Evening, everyone. I pray to Jesus that testify that testicle face has left this club. Lovely. The average age of art has never been an issue. It's just our fringe players like Bonner. Yep, good shouts. Good shouts. Yeah, the average age of the 11 now is a bit better, I think. Be gazumped by anyone who hasn't signed the could be, I think. Regarding Osman, good to avoid that with him not being clear. Could be, Trini. You know, we've had our feet burnt before. I genuinely think it was pulled because someone was told to get someone else, and it didn't happen. But yeah. Anyway, I'm off ski. We'll be doing Dave Moyes press conference in an hour or so. That'll be on the old channel. And until next time, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble. We'll have all the stuff leading up to the game tomorrow on Sunday. Also tonight we should have Irish Tommy, the late show tonight rather. So keep an eye on that. We will also have, if I believe, what's he done here? Why has he put this stuff on here? Also, we believe we will have a situation. We'll have the match report from today from the under 21s as well. But until next time, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble. To be promoted to the main role, that never could happen, unfortunately. Take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care, my friends. Much love. Bye bye.